What does it mean to have a solid base when pulling the ball? Watch how I turn my toes. Can you feel it? Every time, my foot is bracing into the ground. Yes, my foot is moving. But at every point, I'm bracing, bracing, bracing. That's what having a solid base means. Got it. That's real weight transfer. Let me show you how to pull. I can't generate any power. I can barely stand steady. And like this, you can't exert force. Why? Because all your attention is here. Then when the ball changes, you slide. This is the toe turn weight transfer. When the ball changes, I can't adjust. And are you really pushing into the ground each time? Are you twisting into the ground? I step into the ground. I brace into the ground. One way of pulling gives you power. The other way feels floaty, drifting around. My weight transfer helps me plant my leg and push my power out. Right, you have to understand. The purpose of weight transfer is to let me generate power. Where does power come from? Legs and waist, right. So how do I engage my legs? Only by stepping firmly on the ground. So understand the goal of weight transfer. You want power. And to get power, this way I can definitely generate power, right? So, turning the toes, that's the first mistake, okay? Then what's the second mistake? The second mistake is turning with the knee. A lot of people do their weight transfer like this. See that? Turning like this, that's also wrong. What's the third one? The third one is this. They think their rhythm is fine. But if you do this, your weight transfer is reversed. What does reverse weight mean? When you pull, your weight goes to your left leg. Then, when you swing, it goes to your right leg, right? Some people do play like this, twisting the hips. They think their rhythm is pretty good. They think they're doing well. But that's all reversed. Only when I rotate from the hip, when the hip joint rotates, does the power stay loaded in my thighs. Then I can actually release that power. See that? Like this way I can release power. Only when I load like this arm, my thigh is solidly planted on the ground. Understand? How do you load? My thighs have to grip the ground to store energy. We all know power comes from the ground, right? So how do you store that power? How do you store it in the ground? It's by making sure the balls of my feet are firmly planted, with my thighs solidly grounded. Then when I exert force, I can use that power. When you load, your first move is inward and slightly downward. Same for looping. Understand? It's not that when looping we just turn like this, I'll just pull like this. Just pull straight from the hip. No. No. Between the table and the ball, there's a net. As long as there's a net, we need an arc. What's an arc? That's an arc. We're not just pulling flat. I'll just pull horizontally. No. You can't just pull flat. You still need to load. You still go inward and slightly downward. Side view. Inward and downward. See that? Very little downward. It's not people think downward means this. It's inward. Inward and slightly downward, turning like this. Why? Because this way, my power loads better into my thighs. And this way, my force goes forward more. This brings us to today's first key point. So remember, on the forehand loop, your load should always be inward, not sideways. Let me explain what sideways load means. Many amateurs think the pull is like this, pulling like this, right? They think the pull is like this. They take the racket to the side of the body on the backswing, and then turn it over on the swing, right? If you exert force like this, your forehand will never have quality. What does forward-backward force mean? What is forward-backward? What is forward-backward? What is left-right? This is left-right. This is left-right. This is left-right. This is forward-backward. This is forward-backward. Can you see the difference? Let's look at the difference. What is forward-backward? When I load, watch, it's not that I move my racket back. I'm not moving my racket back. I still take it back the same way. So where's the difference? The difference is here. What's different? I'm moving inward with the motion. Side view. Standing ready. Then I load inward. That's forward backward. Understand? That's forward backward. What does this achieve? Watch. Forward backward. Forward backward. Doing this adds more forward force. See, with my hand here, you can see it clearly. Look. Back, forward, more forward. See it? The difference between forward backward and left right. When you load, many people load like this. In fact, that force never transfers to your legs. It doesn't lock into the legs. And when you do that, it's all sideways. Your quality won't be high. Understand, diagonally inward, that's the forehand load. Let me say it again. There should be a slight downward component. Slightly downward when you load. That way, your power, when you release, the ball goes forward. Understand? I'm not saying go straight down. Don't learn it that way. What does slightly mean? Watch. From ready position, go inward and down just a little. And you'll notice your thighs plant better into the ground. See it? Look how solid my thighs are on the ground. Why? Because I went downward. Right, because I went slightly down, so my thighs press deeper. The more you step inward, the more your shoulder naturally drops. That's a result of your body's movement, not because you deliberately drop your shoulder. It's not my shoulder drops, so I press down hard. No, as soon as you pull, it happens naturally. It has nothing to do with forcibly dropping the shoulder. Step 1 done. So how should we load? Inward, not sideways. Not sideways. Inward. Now step 2. Now my body can rotate. What about my hand? I open my forearm. That's what I call, just relax. That's it. Find a natural, relaxed motion. That becomes your own framework. Then as you rotate, watch, because when you rotate, your weight shifts. Your weight goes onto your right leg. As your weight shifts to your right leg, your right side naturally lowers. See that? Weight on right leg gives right side lower than left. So at that moment, the shoulder comes down naturally. Not by me deliberately lowering it. Understand? You can rotate the shoulder, that's fine, but don't sink it. If you deliberately sink it, it becomes like this. And then can you only pull like this? Can you still pull like that? You can't. Got it? Don't sink the shoulder, don't sink it. What detail? Remember, don't break your wrist backward when loading. What does breaking backward mean? Many people, when loading, they want to pull back, so they break the wrist back. Many people, when loading, either pull with the upper arm, or they open the forearm, or they break the arm open. See that? That's breaking the arm open. Never break your arm open. Why? Because then you can't close. What does close mean? This is closing the forearm. My forearm needs to stay at this angle. See that? My forearm must be at this angle so I can close it, right? So when I move, this angle must point toward my body. I bring this angle inward, toward me. See that angle? The angle must face the body. But if I break the wrist back, what happens? The angle faces upward. See, the angle faces the sky. How can you close when the angle faces the sky? So then your pull becomes like this, only like this. See, only like this. What is that called? That's just shoveling the ball. Isn't that just shoveling? You need to close like this. That's how you get spin on the ball, right? Only by closing can you generate spin. When you do that, you're just hitting flat. That angle, it should end up right here. See that? Look at the angle. It should close toward this position. Closing like this, that's correct. This angle is very important. What's the difference between shoveling and closing? And don't forget step 1. First, rotate your body when loading. Rotate, drop the forearm. Watch me do it slowly. Rotate, drop the forearm. Rotate, drop the forearm. My forehand loop. Rotate, drop the forearm. Rotate, drop the forearm. Then accelerate. That's power. Do that motion faster, and that's power. Very relaxed. My forearm is completely loose. Don't worry if my arm goes down a bit. Don't worry about it. Will that make me pull badly? No. Watch, does my ball go out? It doesn't go out. Why? Because there's a net in the middle. Right. We never pulled the ball flat. You have to understand, no matter what kind of loop, we never pull flat like this. We always create arc from our own position, clear the net, arc it back onto the table. Over and back, over and back. It's just not this high. Maybe not as high as I'm showing now. When I loop normally, it's lower, but the path is the same. Understand? Don't think that looping is just like this. Don't think that's how it works, then you'll go long.